What can we do to recover our sleep? Many things. There are more than 30 hacks, but I'm going to give you the most important. The 3-2-1 rule. You have dinner 3 hours before. You stop any stressful activity 2 hours before. This is either work, fighting your spouse, or going to the gym. And 1 hour before, digital curfew, no more screens. Why? Because the light in the screens is blue light, so it's going to stop the melatonin and it's going to increase cortisol. Why? Because if it's blue light, it's midday, and if it's midday, it's not a time to sleep. Thank you, Clicker. How are you guys? Like 5 minutes delay. How are you guys? Okay, nice. How many of you are dads or moms? Okay. And you came here to sleep, right? Yeah, I did too, and then I didn't do it. So guys, I'm Tuto, I'm from Argentina, and I have like 2 lives I'm going to share with you. My previous life was the corporate one, 17 years, P&G, living in Panama, Switzerland, global teams, blah, blah, blah. And then the new life, which is the one I like the most now, is actually helping people, empowering people to unleash the beast they have inside. That's my mission. Because I've seen in myself and others that when you can unleash your vitality, your confidence, your alignment to what is important to you, then anything is possible, right? Any achievement is possible. So that's what I do. So essentially, I optimize people into becoming super fucking awesome human beings, okay? And loving human beings. So what I thought I would do is I would share 10 learnings. It's a packed presentation. I'm stressed because this is the German crowd. So like, I have to be on time. This is like when I was living in Switzerland, I like, Tuto, you're late. But it's 0.1 late, right? So I learned to come like 3 minutes before and stay like this until I could come in. So, where does this come from, or why, why do you guys should listen to me? So the first one is, when I was in Panama, and I had always done sports and eaten right and all this stuff, and I started having injuries, I was overweight, after I learned it was inflamed, so when you see this chubby guy here, right? And I started to have these injuries, and then at some point, I couldn't even play sports. I started doing loads of things, and I remember one time I went to the physio, and she says, you should stop biking so much, because your legs are super cramped. And I tell her, it's been 2 years since I did anything. That was the level of broken body I had. I even thought I had how do you say it in English? Fibromyalgia? Yeah? So I said, I'm not gonna reach 50. So I'm 30, I need to do something. And I started with food, which is where usually we start, or people that start in this journey do. And I went into that. At some point I was a vegetarian, then I was a vegan, now I'm a carnivore, a bit more balanced. And this is where the journey started, and started to take me, let's say, off this very like crumbled state where I remember I would go to dinners with friends, and I didn't have a kid at the time, okay? So I should have had energy. I went for dinner, I was like, I want this to be over. I don't have energy, to stay here anymore. So that's when it started, and I started going to nutrition, exercise, then energy, meditation, transcendental meditation, Reiki, quantum, subconscious mind, and it led to a full rabbit hole. In parallel, I was still doing my corporate career. I get to Switzerland, global team, blah, blah, blah. And then at some point, there's 2 tutos. There's this guy that is doing the yoga retreats and subconscious mind and not eating for 5 days. And actually, I remember my VP saying, like, why don't you eat? I'm fasting. Why are you not eating? I'm like, no, it's 5 days fast, detox. And then at some point they said, eventually this has to change. And then my son was born. So when my son was born and I was in the balcony with him during my, leave, I said, I have to leave immediately. Like, I can't waste any more time selling diapers Diapers is fun, but it's just for poo and pee, right? And I realized then that where I want to do something that matters, I don't have time, because when you have a kid, you don't have time. So my time needs to matter, right? And what I wanted to do was impact others. And my journey has been one of doing this while living. I remember working with a naturopath and a health coach, and he would tell me, you have to measure all of this and do all of that. And I'm like, dude, I have a job already. I can't do all of the things you're asking me on top of what I do. So my, let's say, skill in a way, working with people, is doing this while you still have your life, while you have your kid, your business, your passions, and all of that. And I try to do it below 20 minutes every day. So what I'm going to share now with you is insights and then actions that you can take, hopefully, and start doing today, okay? First of all, stand up. Because I see you guys with the cross arms and with the phones like that, yeah. So start moving like this. 5 minutes for me, yeah. Go like this, yeah. Keep going, keep going, keep going, yeah. So now exhale. Yeah. But through the nose. Go, go. Now release the shoulders, release the shoulders, release the shoulders. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. And now jump a bit more. Okay, stop. Thank you. Sit down. So, are we good? Yeah? So, let's go. Learning number 1 of the 10 learnings. And this is the most important one. What's normal isn't natural. Our life, the normal life we have, is an anti-natural life. What do I mean by this? We haven't evolved under artificial lights, sitting all the time, eating Frankenstein food, working all the time, being with screens, away from the sun, away from nature, away from ourselves, with these unnatural rhythms of producing. So we didn't evolve like this. Actually, our lifestyle changed dramatically in the last 10 years, right? Even the phone, 12 years ago, no, it wasn't just checking on you, huh? The phone 12 years ago, we didn't have it. And now we are stuck with the phone, right? So we start to normalize stuff that isn't natural. So what do we normalize? We normalize being overweight, having ADD, ADHD, lack of motivation, yeah? Lack of energy, brain fog, immune issues, digestive issues, all of this that we normalize, and because we see other people like this, we say, okay, this must be normal. It's not normal, okay? Or it shouldn't be, and it's definitely not natural, because we're living an anti-natural life. So essentially what we are doing is operating against our biology, in spite of what our body needs. What should we be doing? We should be working with our body so that we are empowered through the body. Does it make sense? Yeah? Okay. So the first, and then, we have the physical issues, then we have mental health, emotional issues, and spiritual issues, right? And all of this is linked. So let me give you just 2 examples. Anyone knows somebody who has cancer or had cancer? Or somebody who knows somebody who had cancer? Aha. This, 100 years ago, was almost impossible. It was very, very rare to know somebody who had cancer, okay? Second fact, 50 years ago, 1 in 15,000 children had ADD. Today, 1 in 150, okay? It's not evolutionary, it's lifestyle. So, first action, mindset shift. I want you guys to think, maybe what I'm seeing as a normal thing shouldn't be normal, maybe it's not natural, okay? Number 2, learning. Natural light from the sun, is a nutrient. I want you to think about it as food. It's a nutrient, and artificial light is a toxin. It's an anti-nutrient. Why? Because the sun has the full spectrum, right? Infrared light, red light, green light, UVA, UVB, ultraviolet, yeah? Now, artificial lights only have blue light. So when you're missing the full spectrum, what does this cause? Blue light, you know when the sun comes out, which is red or orange, red, orange, ta 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 ta. Midday, white. These lights, white. For our body, right now, we are at midday. We are permanently at midday. What does this mean? That your thyroid is going to be super demanded, that your kidneys are going to be super demanded, like suprarrenales, right? Because you are operating at midday the full day and at night. Does it make sense? What's the impact of this? Your heart rate goes up, your glucose in blood goes up, your HRV or heart rate variability will go down because you are stressed. This light stress, and on top of that, they flicker. So we don't see this, but they are like this. And this is super stressful for us. So the body is in permanent stress just because of the light. Make sense? Yeah. So what's the action I want you guys to take? Minimize indoor, maximize outdoor, and open the freaking windows. So how can we do this? You have a meeting, go walk outside. You have a meeting, have the call outside. Yeah? You're working, open the window, because the window is also going to filter. You're in the car, open the window. Yeah? Anything we can do to maximize natural light and minimize artificial light is going to impact us positively. Okay? The worst thing you can do, wake up and watch the phone. How many of you did this morning? Yeah. Now, third one. This is a bit tricky. Sleep. Why do I say sleep might get you killed? What happens during sleep? Are we conscious or unconscious? Unconscious. Can we move or can't we move? Can't. You guys are really energized today. Wow. Let me recover. Okay, so the point here is we are very defenseless when we are sleeping, and it should be around 8 hours. So it has to be very important for nature to force us evolutionary to be unconscious for 8 to 10 hours, because it's very dangerous. Make sense? What happens during sleep? First, we repair, we rebuild physically. So how many of you go to the gym or do exercise? Okay, your muscle doesn't grow in the gym. Your muscle grows at night when growth hormone is released. What the body does is, it's going to say, and by the way, the body doesn't know about CrossFit and gyms and all of that. The only thing it's thinking is, we are either running away from the tiger, searching for Bambi, or trying to hunt Bambi, or fighting the other tribe, okay? So when you go to the gym, you're actually doing that for the body. And the body says, if tonight I don't repair, tomorrow I may not be able to run away from that tiger. So I need to be stronger. And that's why it's going to build muscle, okay? So, sleep, we repair physically, and we also go to our inner psychologist. Any of you guys remember a bad night and then the following day how you felt? Did you feel energized or like crap? Right. I'm going to say it, like crap. Did you have more patience with the kids? More patience or less patience? Less. More reactive or less reactive? More. So when we don't sleep, we are emotionally drained because we are not able to process emotions that we felt through the day. And then we also impact learning. So when you don't sleep well, your learning doesn't go from short time to long-term memory. Okay? And when we don't do this, learning actually occupies space. So you can't learn new things if you haven't done this process. Okay? So sleep is very important. Now, what's the key? 100 years ago, we used to sleep 10 hours, literally. Think of this. Almost no artificial light, no screens, yeah? Not the availability of stuff to do. So now how many of you have slept more than 7 hours? And not in bed 7 hours. Actually slept 7 hours. It's not the same, okay? So what can we do to recover our sleep? Many, many things. There are more than 30 hacks, but I'm going to give you the most important. The 3-2-1 rule. You have dinner 3 hours before. You stop any stressful activity 2 hours before. This is either work, fighting your spouse, or going to the gym. And 1 hour before, digital curfew, no more screens. Why? Because the light in the screens is going to give you, it's blue light, So it's going to stop the melatonin and it's going to increase cortisol. Why? Because if it's blue light, it's midday, and if it's midday, it's not a time to sleep. You get that? Yeah? Okay, so the 3-2-1 rule. And here one tip. It's very hard for the brain to not do something. Okay, so you're like, no, I shouldn't take the phone, I should take the phone. Come here, phone. Yeah? It's very hard. So what you can do is a technique called on-off. Very simple. The habit I wanna take off, stop the cell phone or the screen, and the habit I wanna take on, reading, for example. So in your mind, think how you're gonna replace the habit you wanna change. Does it make sense? Because it's gonna be much easier for the brain to go for something than to go away from something. Yeah? Awesome. Inside, or learning number 4, sitting is the new smoking. So, how many of you guys, again, go to the gym and do activity? 3-4 times a week? Yeah. How many of you mostly work sitting through the day? Yeah? Okay. So this is a new race of human beings, which is called sedentaries who go to the gym. Okay? Because we haven't evolved moving 1 hour and then staying in the campfire for the rest of the time. How do we evolve? We have to move things, go get food, go get stuff, pick up the kids, go get water, move the rocks, find a new place to sleep, moving all the time. Yeah? So it's more important to move frequently than to not move for the majority of the day and then go and kill yourself in CrossFit. You're actually doing double harm because you're not moving the full day and then you are really demanding your body after being stuck the full day. Does it make sense? Yeah. So what can we do to kind of change this? And by the way, moving is like the magic pill and it's a double lever thing. Why do I say this? Because when you do activity, you're going to lower cortisol, lower adrenaline, change the energy, move the energy, have the chi throwing through the meridians, right? Many times we are like stuck like this and then we go eat and it's not like we need energy from eating. We just need to move, right? And you're going to get endorphins and serotonin and dopamine. Has somebody ever felt bad after doing exercise? Fabian, I know you're going to say no, right? We were in the gym the other day. So, what can we do? What's the action? I want you guys to think of this. Every 2 hours, I do an exercise snack, an active pose. What does it mean? Stand up? Yeah, it's like an interactive thing. And you're like, oh, fuck. I did Pilates already. Fuck. Okay, so go like this. In Spanish, sentadillas. In English, how do we call it? Squats. Thank you. Now go like this. One in front of the other. Yeah. Lunges. Thank you. You're going to even like, air lunges. Like this. Come on, Fabian. Come on, dude. Okay. Then you can run in place. Run in place. Yeah. Typical jumping jacks. Jumping jacks. Knees up. Heels to the bump. Yeah. Stop. Many active poses, right? Sit down. You feel the difference? Yeah? If you want to clap, you can clap. It's okay. So when I was in P&G, right? And this was, of course, wasn't normal. So I would go to a room, boom, 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 push-ups. I would go to the handicap toilet, which is very, very nice. So doing my squats there, okay? So you have to find ways of moving every time. And then another tip is avoid comfort, of course. So when you go to the airport after you leave here, don't take the electrical stairway. Go through the stairs. Don't take the elevator, go through the stairs. If you're going to the supermarket, walk, use the bike. So every time you have a choice. If I go with the uncomfortable one, I'm going to be moving, and that's going to be massively helpful for, I just remember the square, massively helpful for the body. Okay? Clear? Awesome. Now, number 5, overfed, undernourished. So, how did we evolve? There wasn't any supermarkets or Lidl or Mercadona, okay? So we had to go and find food, and maybe it took us 2-3 days to, kill the bull and be able to eat it. Now, when we killed the bull, we would eat the whole thing. So feast, right? But then maybe for 3-4 days, no food. fast. So the body evolved, adapted to cycles of feast and fast. That's why we have fat. Fat is a lot of energy in a really small unit, let's say. So this helps you or enables you to be many, many, many days without eating. Anybody has fasted like 2, 3 days, 4, 5? Yes! 10. Okay. 5. Yeah. So, and you guys were able to take it, right? And it was nice, actually. And it gave you that inner peace even, right? And this boost of energy. And after 4 days, the boost of growth hormone, right? So why does the body do that? Because if there's no food, like I need you to be well to go and find food, otherwise we're going to die. So it's going to give you that increase in growth hormone, that spike, so you repair yourself as much as you can and you keep going, okay? So we evolved like this, and then what's the problem? Modern life, right? So we eat too much every time. We have a nice buffet. I eat too much. We eat too often, so we have food availability all the time. So we're eating too often and too sweet. Why? 80% of our diet is grains, is corn, wheat, rice, and there's another one. This is 80% of the diet. If you're a vegetarian and you think that's healthy, you're doing a lot more than that, okay? The issue with this is, in nature, how many carbohydrates did we access? Or like close to this, right? The only one, by the way, is, so you couldn't eat grains because you couldn't process them. You couldn't, make them work. And then, okay, you had fruit. Yeah, but all the animals wanted the fruit, all the flies, all the bugs, all the worms, and then us. So it was very scarce. So what we usually would eat would be animals. And animals have protein and fat. They don't have carbohydrates, okay, in their flesh. So what's the actionable action you can take? First one, at least 12 to 14 hours digestive fast. Yeah? At least 12 to 14 hours of digestive rest. And then prioritize animal protein and healthy fats. This is a very controversial topic, so I'm very open to discussing. I was a vegan for some time, so I have my journey. Number 6, we all breathe, we just breathe wrongly. Okay? Anybody doesn't know how to breathe? Typically we think we can, right? Or we do. So how do we usually breathe? Through the mouth, on the chest, and very superficially, right? So what happens when you are stressed? How do you breathe? If you are doing sports or you are agitated, how do we breathe?
Fast.
Fast. What else? Mouth. What else?
Light.
Light. Like that, right? So that breath is a stress breath. So if we are breathing like that all the time, we are sending the signal to our body that we are in stress, even if we are not in stress. Okay? So what do we have to, and why is breath important? And this could go a long way as well. It's the only bodily process that is both conscious or unconscious at the same time. I can think of how I'm breathing and then alter my breath and get a different state, right? Or one that is really key for stress, which is, and all of those breaths are going to change my state, right? So it's the only process in the body that can be conscious or unconscious. So what's the action I want you guys to take? Always through the nose, unless we are very, very demanded when we are doing exercise. But even then, you have to think, how can I get to my nose back as fast as I can? That's going to improve your fitness and cardiovascular health like crazy, and your performance. And then you have to think these 3 words: subtle, which means I almost don't hear my breath. Subtle, light, and deep. Now, deep breath we typically miss, and we go like this, right? This is chest breath. Deep is deep down, okay? And remember, your lungs open below, right? So you're going to maximize your air capacity or your oxygen capacity. Number 7, technology is killing us, really. Like, We are able to work all the time, stay inside all the time, be with screens all the time, eat all the time, all of that because we have technology. Okay? It's what's taken away from ourselves, from nature, and from the outside. But it can also save us. So anybody has an Aura ring? Yeah. A Whoop? Yeah. This is the guy. Whoop or Aura? What do you prefer? Whoop. Yes. Awesome. So what I found myself and working with people is that sometimes we need objective data to change our behavior. So because subjectively we forget, right? And 2 days later we forget what happened. Now if I take a glass of wine when I'm going on date night with my wife, and the next day I see my deep sleep like shit, and my REM is like, I'm like, maybe it was the wine. Second time, third time, fourth time, I told my wife, I'm gonna have a kombucha. And she said, oh, dude, come on. But yeah, because it impacts my sleep, okay? So biofeedback is gonna help you correlate habit to impact. There's a habit that is beautiful, which is 5 minutes, awesome. Which is you wake up and you go outside. You take natural light, you reset your circadian rhythm, you activate your adrenaline and cortisol, but to wake up and be active during the day, okay? And you don't take the phone. Then you go to shower and you take your cold shower, okay, which is gonna further spike that. Then you're gonna have some music. This is a really good protocol, by the way. Then you're gonna have some music that really gets your endorphins going and gets you in a good mood, and then you can do some push-ups. When you do that, your activation in the morning is gonna be awesome. And when you compare with this, you're gonna see the energy and the clarity that it gives you. So, what's the action I want you guys to take? Track the basics. What is the basics? Sleep. You can use sleep cycle, you can use another app, you can use a smartwatch, you can use your Aura or your Whoop. But as you start tracking, you guys know this from business, what gets measured improves, right? The same with the most important business you have, which is self. Okay? Number 8. And I like to say we are not broken because I work with people and sometimes, we come with depression, with anxiety, with lack of purpose, lack of motivation, lack of libido, lack of energy. And people are like, there's something wrong with me. I can't handle this stress, or I can't feel energized, or I'm just not motivated, or I'm anxious, I have panic attacks, I'm on antidepressants. And what I tell them is, nobody's broken, it's our unnatural lifestyle. So we are exposed to massive amounts of stress. All the physical things we talked about, that's massive stress on the body, okay? And then you get your finances, your work, your business, I want to grow 10x, stress, okay? Now, the key here is, how many of you have businesses? Okay, I think there are entrepreneurs here. So, when you guys grow, do you get less stress or more stress? When you get more teams, when you get more clients, when you get more customers, when you get more revenue, the better you do and the more you do, the more tension you need to be able to manage, right? The more stress you need to be able to manage. So, and if you have a kid, don't even tell you, okay? So, what we have to do is the same as we train in business. I learned copy, I learned high ticket sales, blah, blah, blah. You have to train, you have to have resilience training in your day-to-day. How do we do this? Nice, Patrick. How do we do this? We can do it through fasting, through strength training, through getting in the cold, through doing high-intensity training, So there are many things that are going to build our resilience. How? Like an acute stress for a controlled moment of time. That's the key, okay? So I go into the cold shower, and this is building my resilience, physically and mentally. Clear? So the actionable step is, how will I train my resilience today? It could be a cold shower, it could be going a little bit more, okay? Now, 9, and we are almost there. It's actually not stress. It's a stress response. So maybe for somebody coming here and talking is the easiest thing on the world, and maybe for another person it's super stressful. Yes or no? So same situation, different perception, different impact. What matters is my stress response. So the key here is that we've evolved to be stressed. Why? Because we have a survival bias. Why do we have it? If we were in nature, in Africa, and you miss the banana, but tomorrow you can maybe find another banana. Now, if you miss the tiger, there's no tomorrow, because you're eaten. So we are focused to see the negative so that we can survive. Now, the challenge here is we are in the most abundant time of our lifetime as a species, right? There's almost no war, no food. It's just unevenly distributed, right? But there's abundance of everything. So we have to retrain ourselves to see the positive and live in the positive. Because more stress is going to lead to more stress. How do we do this? The two key ones, gratitude and meditation. Yeah? When you are grateful, you can't be stressed. When you are grateful, you can't be scared, because stress is fear. Okay? So gratitude and meditation. Now, we go to the last one to be super on time. In my journey, I had to work on all of these things. That's why I discovered and how I discovered them. But what I realized looking back is the thing that stressed me the most was being not me. Okay? Was being not true to myself. Was being not authentic or inauthentic. When I was in the company and living in a way that didn't make sense to me. I didn't want to come back at 7 or 8 to see my son for the bath. Okay? My values are actually love, and the way we worked there wasn't loving. My values are nature, are being active. I don't believe we have to work all day. I don't believe we can't enjoy like a more diverse life. So the more I changed my life to be aligned with my values and my truth, my authentic self, the less stress I feel. Do I get stressed? Yeah, but there's no frustration. There's no anger. There's challenges, okay? So my message to you guys is think of your life in a very purposeful way. Is it aligned in the day-to-day to my values, to what's important to me or not? And if it's not aligned, and most probably there are areas that are not aligned, the job is to align them little by little. Now what I found working with people is, because amazing things happen, right? They change countries, jobs, couples, like income. What happens when you do this in the day-to-day, you start to take care of yourself, you get your energy back, get your vitality back, your confidence goes up because you keep your commitments with yourself, you prioritize yourself, okay? You get stronger here, and then by aligning the day-to-day, you start to make the bigger alignments. Because you have the energy to go, let's say, against the massive challenges. Because if you don't have energy and you're super stressed, it's very hard to go with a big change, like change countries, okay? But when you get the energy back, that alignment comes. So, with that, I want you guys to have an optimal living framework. I hope this helped in getting there.
Thank you. Big applause for Tuto.
2 more minutes.
It's okay. The Spanish ones, Spanish culture.
Yeah, I did it pretty well.
Yeah, I think so. I can relate. Okay, let's have a small round of questions. Does anyone have a question? Yep, of course.
So I have a question about sun exposure. So I get the whole thing that it's like a nutrient, but how do you also go that it also, like the UV rays destroy the skin and actually cause skin cancer?
Yeah, great. So the thing with the sun is you have to build what's called the solar callus. Okay, what does this mean? If you were in nature, you would be exposed to the sun all the time, right? In winter, in summer, you wouldn't be on the inside all the time, and then in summer, go to Mallorca, right? So when you build this solar callus, your skin has the UV filter built in, okay? And this helps you be able to take the sun and not get negatively burnt, okay? You need the sun for all of those things, and actually the sun doesn't cause cancer. There's a lot of talk we can have there, but the link between UVB and cancer was made through, there was actually a bunch of kids, babies, that were having this ultraviolet light, and some of them started getting cancer. And that's why they say, hey, maybe this links to cancer. And then they did this assumption, but again, the challenge or the difference is that the sun has all of the spectrum. So when you build that callus, it doesn't actually cause cancer. But what you have to do is, you have to be like exposed the full year, right, to the sun, and then when you start to get red, you get out, right? So when you start to get red, it's the body's sign that, okay, it's too much. And then the other factor is fats. So if you're eating unhealthy fats, your cells are made of fats, your neurons are made of fat, your nervous system is made of fat. Now, unhealthy fats, which are highly oxidized, are going to interact with the sun, and then are going to create more oxidation, and eventually this could create cancer. So the solution, let's say, is you stay exposed all of the time. You don't use creams that are going to filter the wrong UV rays, actually, and you eat healthy fats. If you do it that way, there's no, I mean, it's going to be super safe, let's say, and it's very needed, actually. It's not the opposite. Last point, there's a reason why we have, cream sales like this. People are taking all this advice, and cancer rates are exploding. So that's the other factor to look at. Yeah.
I have a small, brief question. So regarding fasting, for men, yes, there's a lot of data on how it's supportive. How is it with women in the fertile years with their menstrual cycle? So premenopausal years, do you have some information on that?
Yeah, so I don't know if to say women are more complex or men are too simple.
Okay.
Let's say both. Now, the point is, because you have the cycle, it's a different way. You can't do fasting the way men do. So for women, intermittent fasting all the time, not good, right? Because you have to go with your cycle, and then after the cycle, there's a whole hormonal change that you need to accompany. So the point with fasting with women is it needs to be tied to the cycle, and you shouldn't do intermittent fasting all the time. You shouldn't do low carb all the time. Like when you're in the luteal phase, you need to increase carbs so you can support the body. So with women, it's a lot more nuanced, let's say. And if you're pregnant, no fasting. If you're breastfeeding, no fasting. Like, or at least, 15, 16, but not too much.
I'm joking.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Remember that fast, it has benefits, but the benefits come from a stress state. So you need to take that into account.
Thanks. Is there one last very fast question? I saw you first.
Actually, I have two questions.
We do it fast, yeah.
Okay, first one, are you still on carnivore diet? And if so, what is your experience? And because it's a very controversial topic.
Yeah, so I'm not on a pure carnivore diet. So what I believe, this is what I say, what I believe to be true. We are omnivores, right, that depend on animal foods. So we can survive on any food. That's why we have, all of these things, right? You have vegetarians, vegans, pescatarians, etc. It doesn't mean that it's the optimal diet, and it depends on context. It depends on where you live, how you live, what you do, right? So what I do now is I also like to enjoy life a bit more. So I'm not that strict with food. For me, it's 80-20. If 80% of the time I'm eating well, yesterday I had dessert and I liked it. It's okay. Ice cream loves me. I love ice cream. So to me, the point there is, this is my personal belief. It doesn't make sense to spend so much energy on, this many calories and this thing and this that. I think it's about balance and being in tune with the body. And then every 6 months, you can do analytics, blood work and so on, to see if there's any deficiency. My point is 80% is meats, organs, and then some vegetables.
Second one. Do you have any experience with customers or so concerning stressful eating, especially when you try to transform yourself, as we've seen in your past? I think a lot of people struggle with emotional eating, stressful eating, especially when they start to change.
Yeah.
So do you have any advice? Because I think everyone here has started a diet or has this yo-yo effect. Do you have any advices how to surpass this phase?
Yeah. I also have emotional eating. I can see myself, you have the 80% chocolate, right? And then suddenly I ate the full chocolate. Like, okay, this doesn't make sense. So I think couple of things. First one is we all have typical mechanisms through which we cope with stress. Okay, and you start to gain awareness on what your mechanism is. And if it's food, you can start to tie the trigger to the response. So the first point there is really awareness, as always. The second one is we have to be careful not to hammer ourselves when that happens. Okay, because we do it, then we feel guilty, then we treat ourselves like shit, and then this keeps pushing that cycle. So to me, the most important advice is that that's just a symptom and you don't address it through food. So it's not like, okay, because you tend to overeat, don't have ice cream in your home. That works, but the real thing is, why is this triggering the stress response? How can you develop a different stress response? Okay? Now, there are three very actionable things you can do. One is writing. Writing is very, very powerful. So it's called download, right? So it even increases deep sleep like for 25%. So write down. The second one is, of course, try to minimize the bad things at home to eat. And the third one is say it out loud. This is a hack. So like, I'm going to eat this chocolate. And when you say it, you gain even more like power to stop it. Right? Am I going to eat this chocolate? And then this gives you like 2 seconds of being able to pull the brake in that like automatic response. There's a lot more to work, but those hacks like really, really impact.
Amazing. Important question. Thank you for asking. I saw hands there. You are still available to exactly. So thank you so much for this wonderful talk. Give it up for Tuto. Amazing. Thank you so much.